Welcome to the Sync UV product setup guide. In this video, we'll walk you through everything you need to get up and running so you can start capturing stunning time lapses in just a few minutes. A quick safety note before we get started. While working with your resin printer, always wear gloves and eye protection. And be sure to keep your workspace well ventilated to minimize exposure to resin fumes. The first step is to place the Sync UV sensor where it can see the UV light from your resin printer. On some printers, this is as simple as placing it against the vents on the machine and holding it in place with some tape. On others, the sensor will need to be closer to the light source, so you'll have to find or create an opening into the base of the printer. This will be different for each printer. On this Anycubic Mono 7 Max, we simply unscrewed the Ethernet port on the back of the machine, allowing for an easy path into the printer. Use the provided sticky putty or a small piece of tape to hold it securely in place. If you're using the Sync UV hub, plug the sensor cable into the hub and power it up using the USB cable. Use the attached Velcro to mount the hub on the side or rear of your printer. If you're using a DSLR camera, simply plug the sensor cable directly into your camera's shutter release port and turn it on. If your camera doesn't use a 2.5mm TRS port, visit our website to view the adapter table. We've listed the most common adapters for major camera brands. Locate the layer interval switch on the top of your hub and make sure it's set to 1. We'll come back and adjust this setting later once everything is up and running. With the sensor installed and plugged in, the next step is to verify that its placement is correct. Remove the vat from the printer and set it aside. Then run a vat clean command on the printer to emit UV light for a few seconds. You should see the red out light on the hub illuminate. Or, if using a DSLR, your camera shutter will trigger. If it doesn't trigger, simply adjust the sensor's position until it does. It might take a few attempts to find the sweet spot, but once it's dialed in, you're good to go. If using the hub, the last step here is to pair it to your smartphone. Open the Bluetooth settings on your device and select Sync UV from the list. Once connected, open your phone's camera, then press the test button on the hub and confirm it triggers a photo. Now that everything is set up and working properly, it's time to adjust your settings. When using the hub, you can adjust the layer interval switch to control how often a photo is taken during your print. This helps reduce the total number of images captured, making your time-lapse editing more manageable. If the layer interval is set to 1, then the output will trigger on every layer. If it is set to 2, the output will trigger on every other layer, and so on. As a general rule, aim to capture between 300 to 700 images. That will result in a smooth 15 to 30 second time lapse. For example, if your print has 2,000 layers, setting the layer interval to 5 will capture a total of 400 images, which is right in the ideal range. If you're using a DSLR, especially one without an electronic shutter mode, it's recommended to still connect it through the hub. While you can connect the sensor directly to the camera, using the layer interval feature will reduce shutter wear. And if your camera supports electronic shutter, be sure to enable it always. Most mirrorless cameras include this option in the settings menu. There are just a few final camera adjustments to ensure your time-lapse comes out sharp and uninterrupted. For best results, switch your camera or phone to manual focus and focus on the center of your build plate. On smartphones, lock the focus manually, either by holding your finger on the screen until a lock icon appears, or by enabling a dedicated manual focus option in settings. While you're there, make sure the display is set to always on. Enable Do Not Disturb to prevent interruptions, and keep your device plugged in for the entire print. At this point, your Sync UV products are set up and ready to go. But to add a professional touch to your time-lapse, here are some final tips. Since we are printing with the lid open, It is important to eliminate any ambient sunlight from the room. Even a small amount of indirect light can begin curing the resin prematurely. You'll also want to turn off any ceiling or overhead lights. Most AC-powered lights flicker at 50 to 60 Hz, something your eyes can't see, but your camera will. This flicker will show up as banding or noise in your final time-lapse footage. For clean, consistent lighting, place a few LED spotlights around your printer, ideally at about 45 degrees. LEDs provide steady, flicker-free light and help your time-lapse look sharp and professional. And for that final professional touch, add a soft backlight behind the printer. This creates depth and adds subtle color accents to your shot. Choose a hue that complements the resin you're using for a balanced look. For camera setup, position your tripod straight on or opposite your key light. Adjust the height and angle until you find a composition you like. A little experimentation here can make a big difference in the final look. If you've followed all the steps shown in this video, then your cinematic time lapses are just around the corner. When your print is complete, be sure to watch our next video guide on post-processing, where we show you how to turn your captured images into a smooth, professional time lapse. Thanks for watching, and happy printing!